From the very beginning, man has always strived for bigger and better, games very much alike, and since the first game, we have seen huge levels of evolving. We have seen new genres evolve, and now subgenres of those genres, and subgenres of those subgenres. So many genres! Before I lose my mind, I think we should explore the past and dive into the games that have carved a nice little path for genres as we explore how they innovated such features. If you think I should have included a game within this list, then please share it in the comment section below. And without further ado, here are 11 innovative games that evolved genres. Call of Duty Modern Warfare. The first modern Call of Duty in the series and the game that introduced many to the series. This title brought the series out of the World War II era and into modern day, but it wasn't the era that innovated multiplayer shooters, it was its multiplayer. It was able to implement RPG elements such as selectable skills and experience to level yourself up, along with what we know now as fine-tuned, but at the time really just a fun multiplayer. This game motivated other developers and companies in the hopes that they could create such an immersive experience similar to how Modern Warfare did it because of how popular the game grew. It really spread the light onto the series where now it's so huge you kind of forget of how small it was not too long ago. Modern Warfare became one of the best-selling shooters and is still one of the most respected titles in its genre. The Sims. No storyline, no goal or achievement, nothing, just a virtual world where one builds the world around them. The Sims introduce an enormous amount of people into what life could be like instead of what is currently like. A customized simulated life is what built Sims' success and drew many female players into playing games, which some say was more unheard of back in 2000. You were able to control your Sim to do whatever you'd like, and the consequences could follow, but by not having any accomplishment, it made people enjoy doing new things each and every single day. These Sims became a huge hit. It introduced a ton of new social simulators to the market and the industry, as well as implementing everything you could think of as far as day-to-day tasks and adventures. World of Warcraft. Although this one may be a little bit more obvious for those who have played it or other MMOs in the genre, World of Warcraft was able to bring everything to the table instead of focusing on one or a few major aspects. It was not the first MMO by any means, but after 9 years of MMOs releasing, starting with Meridian 59, World of Warcraft did a damn good job at nearing perfection when it released. It showed because tons of people were finding themselves immersed in the game for hours and hours every single day. I myself played for many hours on end because it brought together the elements that MMOs now are still releasing without, and they were able to do it back in 2004. While we don't know for sure what will release in the far future, as a time being, World of Warcraft will go down as being one of the most influential on almost every MMO, and some may never even know it. It definitely deserves its props because it pushed developers to a whole new level when creating due to the expectations that World of Warcraft now brought to the community. I mean, what else is there to say about the most successful MMO? Metal Gear Solid. It made huge strides with its stealth gameplay along with its dramatic storyline, both providing intricate elements that games look to follow in its footsteps. The short films touch many themes throughout the game and did an absolutely wonderful job at giving the player a cinematic underline to the story that added to the emotions of those who played it. Now, the game had a great direction for its style and art, and the creator, Hideo Kojima, had a vision for a playable action film that clearly played a huge role in the cinematic storytelling of Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid did so much, but it took the risk to implement movie-like cinematics to entertain the player more than with just gameplay. Final Fantasy VII, a staple in the RPG genre for almost every reason you can think of. After sliding in that first disc, you were able to experience the conceptual story, the beautiful graphics, the leveling of your character, and its ear-watering music that lusciously played as you stared in awe because of how far ahead of its time it was. It brought a cast of characters that are still highly known to this day for many gamers, especially having one of the most known villains in the game and having virtually set a precedent that will be forever marked because of all of its features. Portal. Innovation was all around with Portal because the opportunity and the ability to portal through anywhere makes the possibilities limitless. Along with its storytelling that was very subtle and comedic, the portal gun was the access that the player had to bypass the laws of physics with distance and gravity, obviously being able to be stretched far beyond what we would see with reality. Portal did a great job as well as crossing over into gaming pop culture, in which many companies now use as marketing strategies. Portal gave a fresh experience that influenced many developers looking for this quirky or strange but different type of title. Grand Theft Auto 3. Its popularity at the time grew so large that it almost single-handedly shifted PlayStation 2 to the forefront when it came to console dominance. In 2001, gamers weren't used to having the freedom that Grand Theft Auto 3 gave because often they were faced with a challenge and an endpoint. Rockstar abandoned the typical concept that goes with levels, and instead they wanted the player to have complete freedom when it came to playing however they wanted. You can beat up civilians on the sidewalk, shoot cops, hijack cars, and obviously a lot more than that. This was groundbreaking at the time, and if it wasn't for Rockstar's ability to try new things, who knows where we would be in gaming without them. Street Fighter 2. Bringing a large amount of popularity to one-on-one fighting games, Street Fighter 2 laid the bedrock to the fighting genre ever since its release. Games such as Mortal Kombat, Virtua Fighter, and Tekken all took notes from Street Fighter 2 because of its concepts for combos and these special over-the-top moves. Street Fighter 2's button layout and attack commands were also huge influences for future heavily inspired fighting games. Still to this day, the depth of its gameplay, which involves the character balancing, is highly respected within its genre. Mario 64. For a while, Mario was confined to only the side-scrolling genre, but in 1996, Nintendo made the leap to a full 3D game. It changed everything that fans already loved about the series and many other 2D side-scrollers. 3D introduced a whole new perspective that allowed for jumping, flipping, and moving the camera around for a better angle. Mario 64 didn't introduce anything truly new, but instead it took what features the series had already seen and recreated them with environments that added life and pizzazz into it. You no longer were looking at flat worlds, and instead you saw colossal worlds where you can explore the secrets and hidden collectibles that encouraged replay value for those who wanted to collect everything throughout its game. Halo Combat Evolved. The abysmal FPS genre saw a shift after Halo released because of its innovative ideas for a recharging shield, something that is very common to find in most games nowadays, as well as giving the players 2 weapons to carry, which is huge for situational play as we see very much in games such as Counter-Strike and sometimes Call of Duty. It also introduced a grenade throwing as a standard for first-person shooters, melee attacks by swinging your weapon, and my personal favorite, being able to drive vehicles. You know, Warthogs were the most satisfying things to drive, and honestly I couldn't tell you why, but they just are. The game had great graphics and a wonderful atmosphere and an environment that was so beautiful, making Halo a true experience, a whole experience that was so great. Doom. It gave truth to the statement that games were becoming a medium in entertainment. To call this title anything less than a massive influence on all games is a disservice to Doom. But what did it do that caused so many people to enjoy it thoroughly for so many years? Well, first it gave the player a sense of living another life, but in a game world being surrounded by walls and enemies that you had to fight your way through. Doom had the immersiveness of a game that you would find in a movie or maybe a television show. No longer did you have to memorize your enemies' fighting patterns, but in Doom you now had to adapt on the fly and survive through the waves of your enemies. Doom also gave birth to online multiplayer gaming that allowed for people to interact over phone lines, to play together or against each other in deathmatch. Doom was also responsible for providing pretty much a free trial that allowed the player to play the first chapter of Doom for free, which we see very standard nowadays with a lot of free trials. Alright, all in all these games, very monumental to pretty much every genre that they are in. They're huge influences, so I would like to know, if I didn't put a game on this list, like I said in the beginning, make sure you tell me what kind of games you thought were influential to genres or other games in the future. Let me know. As always, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.